fog lights, and they work just like the factory intended them to work. So there's no What's going on, everybody? Welcome back today for another video. It's going to be a quick video. I just want to go over, I have a lot of questions about adding options to the Jeep. So I'm adding options to the Impreza behind me, which I'm adding fog lights. So I'm just going to run you guys through exactly what most cars you'll have to do this. It only works if it was a factory option, so just keep that in mind. When adding something like fog lights, I already have the fog lights, installed on the car, but you have to get the fog lights, obviously, and you have to get the factory brackets if that's the route you want to go. I highly suggest going with a factory light. These are factory, but I did get ones with yellow lenses just so it gives it a little bit more of an aggressive look. The plugs for these fog lights were just tucked up here right to the bumper support. I just pulled them off and plugged them in. And then what you're going to want to do too is you won't have a factory fog light switch, so you're going to need to get your factory switch, which on this it's on the turnstock. So there's your fog light switch right there, and this will just plug right in. And then the last step would be the relay, which most cars won't have the relay for the fog lights. You'll have to get that also, which that on this particular vehicle is located right next to the fuse box, right over there to the right. So it's pretty easy. Once I get everything hooked up, I'll show you guys them on and everything. But yeah, on this particular car, we're after this right here. I want to remove this and install the new one. So it's one screw right over there. It's a Phillips head, and then that whole piece should separate, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like in there once I get it off. So I got the bottom half of the cover off. To get the top half, there's a screw here, right over here. It's another Phillips head, and I'm sure there's not. So there's only that one screw that holds the top, but you'll have to take the bottom off first to get at that guy right there. There's actually two. There's another one right over here. So this is my first time taking this car apart, so I'm not exactly sure where everything is. If it was the Jeep, I'd be able to tell you guys exactly what I'm doing, but we're kind of learning together right now, so yeah. Okay, so this piece is free. I'm not going to take it all the way out just because I'm going to have to put it right back in there. So we're just going to unscrew this screw and that screw, and the switch, from my understanding of other cars that I've done, it's just a one plug, which is right here at the base, which we'll just squeeze that and try to unplug it, which normally they just come, yeah, there we go. So just take that right out, and that'll be your plug. And like I said, this will be a direct plug-in for the one with the fog lights, and it's already pre-wired, or at least the bumper was. So you're just gonna unscrew the two screws that fasten the switch, like so. There's one. Don't lose any of your screws. And there's number two. And that should be the only ones holding it in, from my understanding, at least from looking at the new switch. So there's that. There's your two screws. This should pull out like that. Make sure your turn signal goes back in the same location. I like to leave it in the middle because it does lock into something in there, which turns your turn signals off when you're driving. But the new one, same concept. Slide it right in, just like this. It should go in. Give me 1 second. So you just have to push on it a little bit, but it does slide right in. So I'm going to put the two screws back in that we removed from the switch. One there and one up here. I'm going to tighten those down. They don't have to be crazy tight, just snug. You are screwing into plastic, so just be mindful of that. That's all that's needed. And now, before we go ahead and put everything back together, you're gonna want to make sure that your turn signal turns off with the car, like when you turn your wheel. So I'm gonna start this after I plug it back in, of course. Okay, that's plugged in. We're gonna start the car, just like that. Turn signal works on the left. Turn signal works on the right. Headlights work right there. Fog lights we won't know, obviously. High beams work. There's your high beams. That's flash, and that's high beams on, so that's good. Turn signals obviously work fine. I won't know about the fog lights until I get that relay, so just be mindful of that. But what I was saying is you want to make sure that they turn off. So I'm going to go like this, turning right, going back. There you go. So that turned off good. And then we're going to make sure that the other one turns off, which it does. So I know we're good. Now we can put the cover back on and button everything up. And I did order some pretty cool LED bulbs for those. They're not here yet, but when I post this video, it will be in the video because this is going to be next week's video. So stay tuned for that. But they're going to change colors pretty much. So they're going to be white, yellow, and cool white. So the way you change them is you turn them off and on within 5 seconds and it changes the color. And if you don't turn them off and on within 5 seconds, they'll stay the color that you last set them. So I'm typically going to drive around with yellow just because it's better for visibility, especially in fog, snow, rain. I like the way it looks too. So let me get the turn signal switch in. I'll show you guys how to do that. And then we'll get to putting the relay in, and then we'll get to putting the bulbs in. And then we'll try them out and see how they look. We'll probably have to angle them and everything, so stay tuned. All right, guys, so I did wind up stealing the relay. And as you can see, the fog light indicator right there on the dash is now working. I did not have to put a bulb in that or anything. So I just slid the bottom relay right over there. I slid it over to the fog light relay, which is on the bottom right. I didn't press it all the way in because they're kind of a pain to get in and out. But as you can see, we do have fog lights, and they work just like the factory intended them to work. So there's no aftermarket wiring, there's none of that. Everything is factory 100%. And you guys could do this to your own car just as long as it had factory fog lights. So you see the fog light indicator, fog lights are now off, on, off, headlights off. And I'm just going to switch that relay back because I have no idea what it was for. So, yeah. All right, guys. So this is how your new Auxbeam lights are going to come. I've showed you guys these bulbs before in previous videos, but they're for headlights. Let me get this plastic off and I'll show you guys what the box contains and everything. All right, guys. So these are the Auxbeam LED fog lights. These are 9005. I do know the Subaru takes 9006, but that's okay because these will fit with a little bit of modification. They don't offer a 9006 bulb that color changes like these, so that's why I went this route. But these things are absolutely gorgeous. If you guys seen my headlight video, I do have Auxbeam LED headlights. Now, the reason why these are so nice is because they change color. So this will go white, yellow, cool white, all different colors. Let me get them completely out of the box and I'll show you guys exactly the plugs and everything. So here's the bulb. This is a heat sink on the back. I don't believe there's a fan in there because when you're looking for LEDs, make sure you get the drive module detached from the light because this is where all the heat is. And when it's built into the lights, it's what causes most LEDs to fail and burn out. But also another thing too, when you're getting LEDs, you want the thinnest possible center beam because it's going to be the same beam pattern as a standard bulb, which obviously your housings are designed for a standard bulb unless you have something newer that comes stock with LEDs. But this is the factory plug type. This is just a 9005 generic plug, 2 prongs, positive, negative. Very, very simple. These should be very, very bright. I have some cheap eBay LEDs in there right now, and they work absolutely great. I took it for a ride last night, but I want to be able to put these on yellow, so that's why I did this. The other ones are just white. So you're gonna have 2 bulbs in your package, like so, 2 ballasts, which are attached to the bulb. The headlights, they weren't attached to the bulb. I guess you could run them without them. I don't suggest doing that. They give them to you for a reason. This is an Auxbeam sticker. Obviously, you always get stickers with stuff. This is just a little user manual, directions manual thing. You don't really need this. I mean, it's pretty common sense. You just plug them in. Then you have foam, like double-sided foam, where you could stick it onto the ballast and then stick it onto your car. That's what you want to do. You have some zip ties. They do really give you everything. I highly recommend, if you're trying to upgrade your bulbs to LED, I highly recommend Auxbeam. I kind of wish Auxbeam would reach out to me, because I have these in every vehicle I own. And to be honest, if they reached out to me, I'd probably throw them in my mom's car. Why not, right? So these are tremendous bulbs. I've never had an issue. So if you're going to an LED, I highly suggest Auxbeam. They do have a set screw right here where you can move the bulb around if it doesn't line up right when you put it in. So that's really nice to know too. But let me get these installed and I'll show you guys the color changing effects and everything. Here's yellow. And then what you do is you just turn them off, on. That's more of a white. I don't know if you guys can really tell that, but that's more of like a like eggshell white, where it's just a little yellow. And then if I come back over here and do it again, back on, that's white. So that's like, you know, really white, like that. So remember, I do have yellow lenses. So, and then if you do it one more time, there's yellow again. So I'm gonna be driving around with it on yellow. I just like the way it looks. I think it looks pretty aggressive, looks really nice. It definitely gives better visibility too. So if you guys want to do this to your car, you have any questions for me, please drop a comment below, and thank you guys for watching. As you guys can see, you guys could definitely do this stuff yourself. The dealer, to add a fog light option to a car, is going to want a crazy amount of money, which I spent maybe $200 on the housings, the switch, the relay, everything you need. And it literally would be the same job that the factory would do. So just keep that in mind, and definitely do it yourself over paying, you know, thousands of dollars. I don't know if it's that much. Some cars it might be, no idea. But just keep in mind that your car has to have factory fog lights to do this, or it has to be an option, which luckily with the Jeep, it had them when I bought it. It was, somebody added it. So when they bought the Jeep, they said, I want fog lights. The factory put them in. I didn't have to do it. But it's not hard to do. And most of the options you're going to add to a car, little secret, most of the plugs are there. Most of them, you just got to add fuses or relays, and everything works just like the factory intended. And that's down to like heated seats, all the way to, you know, something simple like fog lights. So just keep that in mind. All right, guys. So I know it's a little hard to see me, but as you can see, fog lights are in. They're yellow. They're done. And yeah, so it wasn't very that hard to install. Pretty straightforward, plug and play. You know, make sure you tie up your wires, everything. And I did wind up getting the color changing ones, so I'll show you guys the color changing really quick, and then that's going to conclude this video. So until next time, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and enjoy the rest of your day. Peace. Come here. Sit. Give me your paw. Give me your paw. Down. Good boy. That's a good boy.